it is the the discussion that an upcoming Chou concert that's going to be held in Malaysia, uh, and all the requirements it has of the stadium to be set up a certain way with the stage set up a certain way will mean that 21,000 seats will
Mm,
be unusable for an upcoming football game between Malaysia and Thailand.
mm, mm,
So,
mm.
so it is and it's not just a friendly, it's a ASEAN
Yeah.
Football Federation Cup match.
Mm,
So the fans are all saying, "Yo, man, we want to watch football. We don't want like this concert. This is a game of national interest. No, why are
mm.
21,000 seats being
Closed
made
off.
unusable? Yeah, closed
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. To
So,
to be to be
yeah.
exact, I think what is happening is that Malaysia is in the semi-finals of the AFF
Mm.
Cup, and they are playing Thailand. There's the semi-finals play across two legs, and they've already won the first leg 1-0. So they have a very good chance of making it to the final. Then they will be played at that stadium as well, right? But
Mm.
because there is a concert this coming Sunday on the 15th for Chou's concert, they've already started to set up the infrastructure for the concert. That means building a stage on one end of the stadium, which has closed off 21,000 seats already for the build up to the concert, right?
Mm.
And therefore, that means the second leg of this semi-final, which is being played, I believe, on Tuesday night, the 10th January, Tuesday night. The second leg of this final they'll have 21,000 less seats for the audience. So there's a fear that and there's a good chance that Malaysia wins and goes to the final, that they still will not have these 21,000 seats available, because even after the concert, they'll take time to tear everything down, right?
Yeah.
They couldn't
Yeah.
possibly tear it down overnight, which is, I think the final happens on 16th January, which is next Monday night. So there won't be enough time to tear down everything after the concert. So people are kind of pissed off now with Chou, even though he's just here to sing and have a concert. Yeah.
I mean, he did post on Insta stories that he's fine pushing back the concert. And for context, the concert was actually planned for like before COVID, but because of COVID, it got delayed by 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so, wow, this one you read also. I mean, okay, if this was happening in Singapore and Singapore was in a similar position as Malaysia, what would your
Yeah.
reaction be?
I think it kind of already happened to some extent. In the sense that this same tournament, the AFF Cup, right?
Yeah.
The group Singapore played in the group stages,
Correct, with Malaysia.
and the national stadium was not available to the national stadium. Singapore Sports Hub was not available for the matches because they weren't able to prepare in time after Chou's concert, which also was quite recent, right? Yeah. So they ended up playing those group matches in the Jalan Besar Stadium, which, to my earlier point, people complain about, like, I think the coaches of the opposing teams complain about, because it's an artificial pitch. So artificial pitches, anecdotally, artificial pitches can cause a lot of injuries for very high intensity professional players, right? Which is precisely what happened to two of our national players in friendlies that they played. I think they played a friendly with Maldives recently on the artificial pitch and got injured. And then they were not available for AFF Cup. So all in all, Singapore has been affected by this thing, and now, congrats to Malaysia. They're in the semi-finals and they might go to the finals. So they're now facing this issue, and Chou again is in the middle of all this. So that's why it's pretty interesting, because it's not just Malaysia, but Singapore has been affected. But yeah, to your point, I think Singapore, we just we didn't bat an eyelid because we're like, okay football, whatever.
That's sad, yeah. I mean, whatever you just said reveals so much that in Singapore, I didn't even know about it. And I'm someone who tries to read the news every day. Stay on top of things. I didn't know about it. And at first, with this whole Malaysia Thailand thing, I actually felt like, Chou, poor thing, like this thing happened. But the fact that it happened in Singapore also, right?
Yeah.
I placed it solely on his team, man.
Yeah. And you know what the worst part is? If the concert was awesome and got rave reviews from everyone, then maybe it's forgivable, right? Because you're pleasing everyone after not not having played a concert for so long, and you've got so many fans in Singapore, Malaysia. But there were so many complaints about the concert in Singapore. I don't know if you read about it in the news, but there were a lot of complaints from big Chou fans about how bad the concert was. Bad because not only because of the infrastructure or sound or anything like that, because I think we've heard issues about the sports hub and the sound quality there, but because Chou apparently he only sang, I think he only sang for half of the concert or something like that. And a lot of his fans were unhappy because they paid to see Chou, but he ended up listening to a lot of his celebrity friends and guests coming on stage to sing his songs instead, which annoyed a lot of people. And then there were other small complaints about the light sticks being reused from the last tour and everything like that. But those are small things. But the big thing was that they paid for Chou, but they didn't really get a full Chou experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I remember that whole kerfuffle there. So then maybe it's not just on his team. Like for concerts to be held in countries, I mean, I'm assuming the country authorities also need to, I don't know, like issue a permit or something like that. And if there is the ATF around the same time,
the AFF, the AFF,
the ATF, isn't it the ATF? Oh, it's not
the AFF Championship.
AFF Championship.
Yeah.
It just feels like like what? It's quite the AFF. It's quite a significant event lah. So there's always going to be the chance of the biggest stadium in the country being needed. Then for this kind of concert, walao.
Yeah.
Hearing that it happened in Singapore also changed it for me, man.
Yeah, but to be fair, they're also dealing with a backlog of events, right? They've been wanting to be held but then were delayed because of the pandemic. So they are also just trying to honor the contracts and trying to make these things happen within a very compressed period lah. So there definitely will be some what do you call it, compromises that have to be made either side lah.
True,
but I mean, but at the same time, like having just watched the World Cup and the kind of hysteria that comes about when a country qualifies or even wins a match at the World Cup and all that, don't you think like it tells you about how much each country values their sporting achievements and all when they prioritize a commercial concert over like a national event like like qualifying for the semi-finals or finals of a pretty big football tournament in the region, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess these sort of dates would probably have been confirmed a long time ago, right? Like what you said also just now, it's true, balancing the commercial interest. Because I'm assuming when these things happen, part of the revenue generated does go to the stadium also. I don't know how much. But if you imagine the stadium authorities also, they'll be like, okay, if we assume that the country will qualify and we reject this thing that's going to bring in a lot of revenue that could be used for the stadium, that's one approach. But then if the country doesn't qualify, right, then it's just an empty stadium, no?
Yeah,
it's just an empty stadium. But yeah, it's just one of those things. And also off the back of all that controversy around the organization that runs the Singapore Sports Hub.
Yeah.
Right. It just makes you think like, hey, shit, like how do they decide when and where and how to have these sort of events?
Yeah. I think in the Singapore case that we talked about, like in some ways, it's a bit difficult because we really don't have as many venues and all that, right? To alternative venues that can house as many people and all. But I'm just thinking Malaysia, probably there are probably more venues because just they have more space and more stadiums and everything. So I don't know, man. It's a tough one, because if Singapore was in the semi-finals or finals of this AFF Cup, which was highly unlikely to begin with, but it could have happened, right? I think we'd be making a lot more noise about not having seats available, right?
Yeah. I think. I mean, I think so, lah. Suddenly, no one gives a shit, also.
Yeah.
Which is the sad state of Singapore football, lah.
It is the sad state of Singapore football. Yeah.
Oh, like I don't know whether Chou, every country in Asia he's been going, his concerts have just been fucking everything up.
I mean, he's fucking everything up, but he's just raking in the money as well. Like I knew,
Raking
like
in
so
the
many
money.
people I knew, so many people that I did not expect to go to the J. Chou concert went for the J. Chou concert. I knew they were, relatively casual fans and all, but they actually paid money to go. I guess the there's this urge to go and be part of a big concert that's been building up all these years, right? Because of COVID. Yeah, so I was quite like, wow, it's such a big deal to so many people. Okay lah, fine. But the icing on the cake was that it was a lot of them ended up disappointed lah.
But going back also to what you said earlier about why having other options for stadiums, turns out the Bukit Jalil National Stadium in KL is the largest stadium in Southeast Asia and can hold 85,000 people. Yeah, because I know in Malaysia there's the Shah Alam Stadium, but I guess Bukit Jalil is the biggest lah.
Yeah.
So and just the chronology, apparently J. Chou and his team first booked the venue 4 years ago in March 2019 before he postponed the concert. But the Football Association of Malaysia booked the stadium for the AFF 2022 in August 2022.
Yeah.
So also a bit last minute lah.
Yeah. And I think J. Chou said, he can postpone the concert, it's not a problem, and he just wants to sing for his fans, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's...
Then I'll say, tell that to the Singapore fans, because they wanted you to sing for them, but you didn't sing for them. You only sang 50% of the time. So tell that to your Singapore fans.
J. Chou.